Hey guys, it's Lordkaz and What Ifs here, and this is the final part of What If Deku had energy manipulation. I want to thank Terminator 9000 for being an avid fan of this What If. So let's get into the video. Chapter 4, Class 1A. The fuck is your problem, Insomniac? Such language. You. A familiar voice replied. Two of the three voices that came from the classroom sent a shiver down Izuku's spine. Not only would he have to put up with Bakugo again, but that blue-haired boy from the entrance exams was there as well. At least he had Okiko around, and Shinso, or rather he had hoped it was Shinso, didn't seem like a bad person. Izu-kun. Another familiar voice called out from down the hallway. Oh, Toga, how are you? Izuku was cut off as Himiko tackled him to the ground and buried her face into his chest. Oh Izu-kun, I've missed you, she sighed. Toga, get off him. Okiko practically shouted before trying to pry the blonde off of a beet red Izuku. I don't wanna, Toga whined as she tried to keep her grip on Izuku, flailing her legs comically. Please stop this, the blue-haired boy commanded as he stepped out into the hallway. As students of UA we should be on our best behavior at all times. Himiko released her grip of Izuku with an annoyed, pouty look towards the authoritative boy. Buzzkill, she said as she got off Izuku. Are you alright? The boy asked Izuku with an outstretched hand. Oh yeah, I'm okay. Izuku replied. I would like to apologize for my behavior during the entrance exam, the taller boy said. Oh, don't worry about it. Izuku offered. If you are just here to play at being friends then leave. This is the hero course. A bored, almost monotone voice said. Izuku and Okiko quickly moved into a defensive posture without thinking, expecting someone to be looming behind them, not a yellow sleeping bag laying on the floor. Not bad, 4 seconds for everyone to quiet down and you two were ready to go on the defensive. A teacher, so they're a pro, but I've never seen a hero who looked that worn out before. It's like he'll fall asleep any second, Izuku thought. I'm Shoto Aizawa, your homeroom teacher, he said as he started to dig into his sleeping bag. Put this on and go out onto the field, he said as he pulled out a blue t-shirt with UA in white letters on it. Find your suit from the pile behind the desk and meet me there. A quirk assessment test, the class questioned loudly. What about the entrance ceremony? The orientation, Okiko asked. If you're going to become a hero, you don't have time for such leisurely events. Aizawa said coldly, prompting slight murmurs from the rest of the class. UA's selling point is how unrestricted its school traditions are. That's also how the teachers run their classes. You kids have been doing these since junior high, too, right? Physical fitness tests where you weren't allowed to use your quirks. Aizawa explained, pulling out a small handheld. The country still uses averages taken from results from students not using their quirks. It's not rational. Well, the Ministry of Education is procrastinating. Midoriya, you finished at the top of the practical exam, right? Why yes sir, Izuku replied. In junior high what was your best result for the softball throw? Aizawa asked. About 46 meters I think, he replied. That's not what your school records say, Aizawa said as his eyes narrowed quizzically. Well sir, that's because until about a year ago I hadn't really put effort into training either my body or my quirk. Just before the entrance exam I had wanted to see just how much I had improved and that's where I got 46 meters. Izuku explained. At least he realized his mistake and tried to fix it. Aizawa thought. Alright then, try using your quirk this time then, he said, gesturing to the circle behind him. Yes sir, Izuku replied as he took the ball from Aizawa and stepped into the circle. He took a deep breath to calm his nerves and channeled 10% of one for all throughout his body. The rest of the class looked on as faint green lightning danced across Izuku's body before he started to wind up for his throw. Izuku sent the ball sailing into the sky. Each time he saw the ball start to crest its arc he let out a pop of his quirk, effectively bouncing the ball higher and higher. He managed to bounce it 4 times before he let it fall to the ground, his head screaming at him to stop. Know your own maximum first, Aizawa said as the handheld beeped in confirmation. That is the most rational way to form the foundation of a hero, he added as he showed Izuku and the class his score of 713.2 meters. Bullshit, Bakugo shouted as his hand sparked before he made a break towards Izuku. You tell me how you fuck. If I were you, Bakugo, I'd think twice before trying to attack a classmate. Aizawa said as the clothes around his neck wrapped around the explosive blonde. He was cut off as clothes wrapped around his body and restraining him. If I were you, I'd think twice before trying to attack a classmate, Aizawa said coldly. Then let me throw the damn ball. Bakugo shouted. Fine, take your throw now. I don't know why you have such an issue with Midoriya, but we will be talking about this later. Aizawa said as he released the bindings. Midoriya, back to the group. Good use of your quirk. Thank you, sir, Izuku said as he left the circle. I'll add some serious heat to the pitch and blow the nerd away. Bakugo said to himself as he did a couple light stretches. He reeled back his arm, tensing each muscle as much as he could before snapping it forward. Die, he shouted. I get the feeling that was aimed more at me than the ball. Izuku thought. Bakugo smiled confidently as the ball soared through the sky. No way is that damn nerd beating this. The other students talked excitedly over Izuku's score. 713.2 meters. No way, a blonde boy shouted out. Oh wow, this looks like fun, a pink-skinned girl exclaimed. And we can use our quirks as much as we want. As expected from the hero course. A more plain-looking boy added. 712.8 meters. Aizawa announced as he showed the device to the group once again. As Bakugo's face fell and his confidence started to crack. Fun, huh, if you think this is fun then let's make a game, Aizawa said in a chilling tone with a smirk that sent chills down Izuku's spine. Whoever comes in last place in all 8 tests will be judged to have no potential and expelled. Wait, hang on, that's not fair, the pink girl exclaimed. Oh, but natural disasters are. How about villains that only want to kill as many people as they can? This world isn't fair. It's a hero's job to fight against that unfairness and keep people safe. This is UA's hero course. You all have 3 years here. Are you going to keep the mentality of this being fun, or are you going to give up? Aizawa said harshly. He scanned the class after his words, searching for anyone already faltering. First test is the 50-meter dash. Katsuki Bakugo, Hitoshi Shinso, get in position, you two are up first. Bakugo snapped out of his thoughts as the rest of 1A started heading towards the track. Well, Bakugo, congrats on second place so far. That's really good, Okako said as she walked by. She may have been putting it on a little too thick, but finally seeing him not number 1 in anything they did. It was just too hard to not say anything. Bakugo didn't respond. Runners, on your mark. A camera drone recited. Bakugo got in position, ready to leave the insomniac-looking boy in the dust. The other boy, however, just stood idly by. Midoriya looks like he's going to run away with first place, huh? Shinso stated. Set, like hell Bakugo replied. Go, now launch me to the finish line. Shinso ordered. Bakugo's tension slacked as Shinso leaned against Bakugo's outstretched arms, and with a large explosion, Shinso was sent sailing across the track. What the fuck did you do? Bakugo exclaimed as he rocketed after the purple-haired boy who had just stumbled to the ground, close to the finish line. 5.43 seconds. 6.21 seconds. The drone called out as each boy crossed the finish line. Used my quirk, Shinso answered as he brushed himself off. Thanks for showing everyone yours. Word of advice, in a competition, you might want to keep some things a secret. Bakugo just stormed back to the rest of the class. He had been shown up twice already and he wouldn't let it happen again. Alright, next up, Tenya Ida and Tsuyu Asui. Aizawa called out as the two got in position. I apologize in advance, Asui, my quirk is practically made for this test, the blue-haired boy offered. Don't worry about it and please, call me Sue, the green-haired girl responded. Runners, on your mark. The drone repeated. Set, go. As soon as the drone finished, the two shot off the starting line. Ida quickly pulled ahead, leaving behind a trail of dust as he skidded across the finish line. 3.04 seconds. The drone announced. Asui hopped across the finish line not too long after, coughing lightly as she jumped through the dust. 5.58 seconds. The drone cheered. Izuku excitedly filled out page after page of his notebook, jotting down possibilities on each quirk he saw with the excitement of a kid on Christmas. What does he use to fuel his engines? Is her quirk a frog or a toad? What is Shinso's quirk? He muttered. Okiko gently elbowed him in the side. You're muttering again, Izuku, she whispered. He turned to her with a sheepish grin plastered on his face. Can you blame me? I mean, look, he shoots a laser out of his stomach. How cool is that? He exclaimed as he kept writing down in his notebook. Okiko Uraraka, Himiko Toga. Aizawa called out. You two are up next. Wish me luck, Izuku. Himiko said cheerfully. Do your best, you two. Izuku said as Okiko and Himiko got in place. Not exactly what I wanted, but I'll take it. Himiko thought to herself. I'll use my quirk and lighten up my clothes. It won't make much of a difference, but every little bit counts. Okiko thought as she used her quirk. Runners, on your mark. The drone repeated once again. Set, go. Himiko and Okiko took off from the start line, streaking towards the finish. 6.26 seconds. The drone announced as the two girls ran by. Aizawa waited a brief moment before speaking up. And the second result. 6.26 seconds. The drone repeated. Well then, looks like we have a tie. Aizawa said dryly. Mezzo Shoji, Izuku Midoriya, you're up. Alright, time for the last ball throw. Aizawa said. Okiko Uraraka, you're up. Yes sir. Okiko replied as she confidently walked up to the circle. She took the ball from Aizawa and activated her quirk. As she threw the ball, she turned to Bakugo and quickly flashed 3 fingers his way, as Aizawa showed her score, represented by the infinity symbol. Alright, and with that, here are the final scores. Aizawa announced as a holographic screen shimmered to life. Izuku stared in awe at the scoreboard, with his name standing above all else. Wow, Izuku, first place. Toga exclaimed as she wrapped her arms around one of Izuku's. Thanks Toga. Izuku said sheepishly. But Shinso, Izuku trailed off. Better luck next time, Aizawa started. Wait a minute, Mr. Aizawa. Izuku shouted. Is what I would say if I wasn't lying to get you all to do your best. Aizawa continued as he narrowed his eyes towards Izuku. Here at UA we will push you to your limits time and time again, forcing you to break those limits and soar even higher, he explained as he turned off the hologram and walked back towards the school. Today was just a taste of what we here at UA will drill into you. Be ready. Geez, I thought Mr. Aizawa was serious back there. Okiko sighed as she gathered her things. Again, I apologize for not saying anything. A tall girl with jet black hair interjected. It's not a problem, Yaoyorozu, really, we should have realized it ourselves. Okiko replied. He wasn't lying, Toga stated matter-of-factly. What do you mean, Toga? Yaoyorozu asked. He would have expelled Shinso if he saw no potential in him, the blonde replied. It's been his style since he started working here apparently. Wait, really? Shinso asked in shock. Yeah, Mr. Vlad, 1B's homeroom teacher, told me, she replied. I didn't know you were close with Vlad, King Toga. Izuku said. I mean, close might be a bit of an overstatement, but yeah, I've been living with him for the past couple of months. I didn't know he liked his girls that young. A short boy with purple balls for hair said. Toga was in front of the boy in a blur. Listen here, you disgusting little shit, she seethed while keeping a joyous expression on her face. You don't know why I'm living with him, so I'd suggest shutting your mouth, unless you want to see your tongue dangled in front of you, K. The slight tilt to her head as she finished her threat added to the unsettling tone. Why yeah, okay, sorry about that, the young boy said before he ran out of the building. So Izuku, what are you going to do today? Toga asked as she snuggled up to him, wrapping her arms around one of his. Well, I was actually going to see if you guys wanted to come over to my place, he said to Shinso, Toga and Ida. While I would love to accept your invitation, Midoriya, I must ask, are your parents okay with your invitation? Ida asked. Oh yeah, my mom already said it was okay, Izuku answered. What about your father? Ida asked. Immediately both Izuku and Okiko's moods darkened, and Ida regretted asking. My father isn't with us anymore, Izuku trailed off. I'm so sorry, Midoriya. I had no idea. Ida apologized. It's okay, Izuku said solemnly. You had no way of knowing. Hiyashi walked down the street with a smile plastered on his face. How could he not? His son had just found out he had gotten into you. After all, it had been so long since he saw his son. His mood soured as he thought back on what he had done and seen. That poor young boy, no older than his son, was forced into being this horrid monstrosity by the man whose employment Hiyashi was under. The boy's red wings, forced to grow as his size was forced to grow into a massive frame, skin pulled taut across his elongated limbs. The noise this thing made, the cry of pain, was the only noise it could make as the skull melted away. Its brain swelled as more and more avian quirks were forced into it. Hiyashi shivered as he recounted the terrible things that man and doctor had done with his help, but at least his family would be taken care of. He had yet to put his payment in the bank as instructed. The man had said a payment this large would take time, and when he had all the money someone else would contact him signaling the money was there and he could finally leave the blood and screams behind. He carried a massive all-night cake from the bakery. He would finally get to see his son again, hug him and tell him how proud he was of him. But fate was cruel. It all happened so quickly. A man tore through an alley, tackling Hiyashi to the ground. "Don't fucking move," the man ordered as his fingernails elongated into thin sharp blades pressed against his neck. Before he dug into the man's pockets. "Oh ho ho, Mr. Moneybags over here, huh?" the thug said as he eyed the check that Hiyashi had kept in his pockets. "Looks like I hit the jackpot on hostages." The man laughed as he stood Hiyashi up and kept his bladed nails pressed against his neck. Hiyashi's mind raced and panicked. He wouldn't be able to get that money back. He needed it for his family. Then the fear seeped in. Would he even get to see his son again? This was supposed to be a surprise for Izuku. Would he even get to tell him how proud he was? He heard the voices shouting as a hero arrived, and he felt the nails sink deeper into his neck. The voices shouted and Hisahi's vision started to fade. He tried to stop the blood from spilling from his throat. He saw the white fur of someone's boots, the hero perhaps, but it hardly mattered. "I'm sorry, Izuku," Hiyashi said weakly. As his vision went dark, he was granted one last thought before he passed. "I love you. We found out that day," Izuku recounted sadly. "Someone from the Hero Commission came knocking at our door. They told us what had happened. They also told us that the hero felt horrible that they couldn't save him and decided to donate part of their payments to us as an apology, but decided to remain anonymous." Izuku didn't give his classmates time to feel bad for him though, as he quickly changed the subject back. "So do you guys want to come over?" he offered again. "We'd love to, Izuku." Toga accepted. "Planning on going somewhere, Toga?" A gruff voice cut in. Toga rolled her eyes as her shoulders slumped. "I was going to go to Izuku's house," she said in a polite and practiced tone. "Vlad King," the others shouted in shock. Vlad looked at Izuku and narrowed his eyes. "I assume you invited her over then, correct?" "Why yes sir, I wanted to get to know some new friends a bit better, I hope that's okay." Izuku nervously replied in a hopeful tone as he bowed to the hero. Vlad looked back to the hopeful eyes of Toga before turning to walk away. "Just make sure she gets back safe." A massive roar rocked the surrounding windows as a massive man stood on the train tracks. "Yeah Mom, we might be a little late getting home," Izuku said as he and the group watched the scene unfold. "Okay Mom, I'll see you soon." "Well fuck, didn't expect this today. You'd think that someone wouldn't do this shit in the middle of the day," Toga said. "Apparently he's just a lowly purse thief," Shinso added. Heard some of the others talking about. His explanation was cut off by a large number of young women cheering for Kamui Wood's sudden appearance. "It's Kamui Woods," Deku explained as he pulled out his notebook. "I've always wanted to see him in action." "Wait, I thought you were on issue 14. Okako asked as she noticed him writing in his old notebook. "Oh, I am," Izuku explained. "I just had this spot ready in case I saw him." Hero analysis for the future. Ida noted. "Midoriya, how long have you been working on these?" "I think I started the first one when I was about 6 years old," Izuku said as he thought back while keeping his eyes on Kamui Woods. "Though those first couple are just me comparing them to All Might, I didn't start analyzing heroes until about the 4th book." The onlooking crowd roared in anticipation as Kamui was getting ready to finish off the villain with his signature move. Only for a massive woman to slam a kick into the side of the villain's head. People with cameras started taking as many pictures of the debut hero as they could as Izuku pulled out his new notebook. "What an entrance!" he exclaimed. "Piece of cake for the world's next hottest hero," the massive woman said as she gently lifted the leg of the large villain. "Hi there everyone, I'm Mount. Lady. Nice to make your acquaintance." she said as she gave everyone watching a wink and a generous look at her rear as the fabric of her hero costume clung to her. In an instant Izuku felt overwhelming fear as both Okiko and Toga turned their eyes to him. "Like what you see, Izuku," Okiko said in an overly sweet tone. Wait, it's not like that, I swear." Izuku tried to defend himself. "How about we just forget this happened and move on?" Shinso offered. "Maybe we should stop by a convenience store on the way and pick up some snacks." "Great idea, Shinso, let's go." Izuku agreed, eager to escape the situation he somehow found himself in. "Game. Perfect. 17. Shinso exclaimed. 17 games in a row. Midoriya, I am quite impressed. Ida said. To win each game flawlessly shows a very deep understanding of how the game works. Well, I spent a lot of time getting the timing of the combos right, and then I watched some videos online to see what some higher level tournament play looked like," Izuku said as he pulled the last pack of Shinso's pork buns into his overwhelming snack pile. "One more," Shinso begged. "One more game and you can't use All Might this time. You're out of snacks, Shinso, you got nothing left to bet against Izuku," Toga said from the couch as she took a bite of her pomegranate. Shinso racked his brain to try and come up with something to wager for his precious pork buns back. "Katsudon," he exclaimed suddenly. "Ha," the group replied. "If you win I'll buy you Katsudon for a week." "Oh no," Okiko sighed. "What is it, Uraraka?" Ida asked. "You're on," Izuku exclaimed. "You'll see," Okiko replied. The other three watched on as Shinso selected Endeavor while Izuku selected Edge Shot, and within about 30 seconds. Game. Perfect. All Might is Izuku's favorite character, sure, Okiko said as Shinso stared at the screen in shock. "But Edge Shot is his best character." Shinso, if it's too much for you, you don't have to go through with it," Izuku offered. "I'll take the food," Toga interjected. There was a brief pause before the group erupted into laughter. The class was buzzing with excitement. "You hear, All Might is teaching the class today," the pink-skinned girl said excitedly. "I can't wait," the red-haired boy said. "I wonder what we are going to do today." "Excellent question, young Kirishima," All Might said as he threw the door open. All Might made his way over to the desk as the class's excitement reached its peak. "Today, we will engage in mock combat training," he said as he clicked a button on a remote. The class watched as shelves slid out from the wall, each lined with 5 metal cases. When you submitted your school forms, you also submitted your hero costume designs, All Might said. Each one was made as close to your designs as possible while taking in information from your quirk registrations. "After you change, meet me in Ground Beater," he said in his usual boisterous voice. "Yes sir," the class shouted in unison. All Might stood at the entrance to Ground Beater as he smiled proudly towards his students as they made their way down the hall. "They say clothes make the man, young men and ladies. Be fully aware, from now on, you are heros," he said as he looked over the class. "Amazing, each and every one of you looks so cool. Now shall we begin, you zygotes?" Each hero fledgling stood proud in their costumes, each one designed by top-of-the-line hero support companies. All but one. Izuku smiled warmly as he looked over the costume his mother had made him. It may not have been the flashiest, or the most expensive, but it meant something to him. He glanced down at the padded gloves she had hand-knit for him so that he could, possibly, build up some form of static electricity. "Your mom did an amazing job with your costume, Izuku," Okiko said as she jogged up to him. "I probably should have taken your advice, huh? This suit is skin tight. So if you like this what if, you can join my Discord in order to post what ifs I should do. So thanks for watching, make sure you like and subscribe and join my Discord, which is linked in the description below. Till next time.
More of them? Guys, if you worked this hard at a legit job, you wouldn't need to be criminals. right, Yuri. I'm gonna repair the last Chinatown tower now.
Don't you mean Spider Cop's gonna repair it?
Been doing a little thinking, Yuri. Policing's a young man's game, and Spider Cop, well, he's no spring chicken.
Please be going where I think you're going.
As of today, Spider Cop is officially retired.
Oh, thank God. I need a drink.
We'll all drink tonight, Yuri. Drink to the memory of Spider Cop's tireless... Yuri? Yuri, you there? Guess the emotion of the moment overwhelmed her.
Avenue, please.
Not good. Can't have people taking pictures of my 3 chest hairs. Tools I need for suit repair at the lab. Wonder if Dr. Octavius is left for the day. Doctor, how did it go with the committee? I'm so sorry I screwed things up.
Not at all, Peter. They're just nervous in the face of imminent triumph. They'll calm down. They always do.
Should I head back to the lab for cleanup?
No. I'm stepping out for dinner anyhow. We'll resume tomorrow. Short break, then back to creating the future.
Wish I could bottle and sell that man's optimism. Sounds like he's left the lab for the day. Good time to work on my suit in private.